My name is Jenna Walsh. I'm 34 years old and live in a quiet coastal neighborhood just outside Seattle. Most mornings start the same, brewing a strong cup of black coffee, scrolling the weather app, and walking the short path to my office above the old marina where our team rents space. I'm the founder and CTO of a medical AI company. It's not exactly the kind of job you can explain in a sentence, especially to relatives who still think tech means fixing printers. My family never quite got it. Or maybe they never tried. To them, I was always the odd one out. The too serious daughter with messy buns, worn sneakers, and a laptop that went everywhere with me. My older brother, Mark, was the golden child. He's 2 years older, works in finance, drives a Tesla, and married a former pageant queen. My parents adore him. They hang his diplomas in the hallway, brag about his career, his house, his kids. At every family gathering, it was always mark this, mark that. Even when I landed a major partnership with a hospital network in California, nobody batted an eye. At Christmas, my aunts huddled around Mark's baby photos and said, "Your brother always had that spark," while I stood in the kitchen helping with dishes, like always. I used to think if I just stayed focused, if I worked harder than anyone else, one day they'd be proud of me too. But recognition never came. Not when I launched our company. Not when our software was credited with saving lives during the flu outbreak. Nothing. The last time I heard from them was over 2 years ago. No messages, no calls, not even a birthday text. I used to think family meant having people to come home to, but that illusion broke on my mom's 60th birthday, the day my dad told me not to come. And the reason? Mark wants to keep it small this year. That's when I realized I was never really part of the guest list to begin with. Nothing fancy, I just wanted to help out, like always. When I called to check in, it was my dad who answered. "Hey, I'm planning to fly in a couple of days early," I told him. "Let me know if there's anything you want me to bring or prep for the party." I still remember how his voice sounded. Not angry, just off. There was a pause, then a quick throat clear. "Jenna, it might be better if you didn't come this year." I thought I misheard. Maybe he was worried I had too much going on at work. "It's okay," I said gently. "I've already cleared my schedule. I want to be there." That's when his voice hardened. "Mark's bringing someone important. His girlfriend's dad is a big investor. He's old school. You showing up would just make things awkward." I blinked. "Awkward?" I asked. He sighed. "Jenna, your work is hard to explain. You talk about AI and hospitals and software no one understands. It's just easier this way. We don't want to make a weird impression." I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. "So I make the family look bad?" I asked quietly. "That's what you're saying?" He didn't deny it. He doubled down. "If you insist on coming, then don't call me your father." Then, click, the line went dead. No hesitation, no apology, just silence. I stood in my living room, the faint hum of the fridge the only sound. My coffee had gone cold in my hand. Outside, the early spring light flickered against the curtains, but none of it could reach the chill inside me. His words echoed again, sharp and final. "Don't call me your father." My hands trembled, not with rage, but with grief. A quiet, hollow grief. For years I thought maybe I wasn't their favorite, but I was still their daughter. But that day, that illusion shattered. I walked to my desk, opened my laptop, and pulled up my bank account. For over 2 years, I'd been sending them nearly $600, 0 cents every month. Electricity, water, cable. They never asked if I could afford it. They just said, "Mark's got 2 kids now. If you can help, it'd mean a lot." And I helped, quietly, like it was expected of me. Like it was written in some invisible contract the day I landed my first grant, as if earning money automatically made me responsible for the household I no longer belonged to. I opened my banking app and scrolled through the history. The total glared back at me. $15,720, 0 cents. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I just felt hollow. Not because of the money, but because it hadn't bought me a seat at the table. Not love, not acceptance, not even the decency of a birthday invitation. I hovered over the payments: electricity, water, internet, and clicked. One by one, the auto payments canceled. No pop-ups, no alarms, no "are you sure?" Just confirmation. Auto payment canceled. Like my presence in the family quietly removed, without anyone noticing. Until it was inconvenient. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark with the soft hum of my air purifier, replaying that call. His words. How a man I once called Dad had chosen to exclude me for the sake of someone else's image. Not a stranger's, my brother's girlfriend's father. Mom's birthday came and went. No flowers, no card, no carefully wrapped gift sent overnight. Not out of spite, but because I was done pretending. At 5:04 p.m., while I was on the balcony, with a cup of peppermint tea and the soft rustling of coastal wind in the trees, my phone buzzed. It was Mom. I let it ring out. A message followed. "Jenna, why is the power out? Can you check for us?" Then Dad. "No internet, no water, call someone. Your mom's panicking." Not "are you okay?" Not a word about that phone call. Just orders, like I was a technician on call. Then Claire's text. "Guests are coming and the Wi-Fi's down. Mom's freaking out. What's happening?" I stared for a second, then typed. 3 weeks ago, Dad said if I insisted on coming home, I shouldn't call him my father. I'm just honoring his request. If this is inconvenient, maybe ask someone you're proud to introduce." I didn't send the text. I deleted it. Not because I regretted what I'd written, but because I already knew, no matter what I said, they'd only hear what suited them. I set the phone on the table, leaned back in my chair, and closed my eyes. My apartment, small, clean, mine, stayed still and quiet. No passive-aggressive sighs, no raised eyebrows, no backhanded compliments disguised as concern. The next day, I got a voicemail from Claire. "Mom's been crying since last night. Do you even realize how important yesterday was? Leah met the family for the first time and everything got ruined. You're unbelievable. You're so selfish." I listened to the whole thing, then powered my phone off. For years, I wasn't selfish enough. Now, it was long overdue. I opened my laptop and scanned my work inbox. Between budget reviews and team updates, one subject line caught my eye. New Jersey staff transfer, approval required. I clicked into the email and scanned the list. Midway down, I froze. Liam Prescott. The name hit me like a jolt, because just a few days ago, Mom had gushed about Claire's impressive new boyfriend. Head of Finance, New Jersey Division, transfer request Seattle HQ, approver Jenna Walsh. I let out a short laugh, reflexive, quiet, stunned. What were the odds? The man they prioritized over me was being transferred to my office, and not just that, he'd report to me. I sat still, my hand on the mouse, staring at the irony. All those years, all that money, all that effort, nearly $16,000, 0 cents in payments, not a single thank you. Not a single moment of genuine recognition. I scrolled through the recurring bills. $192.48. Electricity. $136.72. Water. $248.50. Internet and cable. Month after month, like I was the family's invisible payroll system. Never seen. Never acknowledged. I remembered the last midnight call from Mom, almost a year ago. "Jenna, the bathroom pipe burst. Claire's away with her boyfriend. You're the only one left." I hadn't thought much of it then, but now, her words rang clear. You're the only one left. Not cherished, not appreciated, just available. A resource to call when the others weren't. And then being told I couldn't come home because they were trying to impress a man I hadn't even met. I finally understood. My place in that family had never been built on love, it was built on utility. My phone buzzed again. A message from Mom. "I know yesterday got tense, but could you please take care of the internet bill? Claire's trying to keep things calm with the guests." No apology, no mention of Dad's ultimatum, just another request. Like always. I didn't reply. Instead, I stepped out onto the porch, sinking into the wooden chair beneath the fading April sun. The crisp coastal air brushed against my skin, cold, but honest. It cleared the fog. I thought of Liam, the one they considered worthy of the family, the one they excluded me for. And now, he was about to walk into my office. I returned inside and opened the transfer file again. New hire confirmation, Liam Prescott, Seattle HQ, start date Monday. I clicked his profile, polished, Ivy League grad, years of experience, CFO material. Claire would eat that up. There was even a photo. That's when I remembered. We'd briefly met 6 months ago at a health tech conference. He shook my hand and called me Miss Walsh, co-founder. He had no idea who I was then, and I hadn't cared enough to connect the dots. Now, the dots were drawing themselves. I didn't approve or deny the transfer. I didn't need to. Life was already writing its own script. The next day, Liam walked into the office, nervous, folder in hand. When he stepped into mine, he looked up. His face shifted. "Jenna?" he asked slowly. I gave a calm, practiced smile. "Welcome to Pacific Genomics," I said. "I'll be reviewing this quarter's financial strategy with you. Please have all your documentation ready by Friday." Liam stood frozen. His face flushed, then went pale. And just like that, I could finally breathe. No one in my family knew I co-founded the company. Not because I was hiding it, they never asked. In their minds, I was just a background figure with a vague tech job, probably answering phones or typing spreadsheets in some dim cubicle. So, I didn't say anything. I simply slid the contract across the table. Liam took it without a word, nodded slightly, and left the room. I leaned back in my chair. I wasn't proud, I wasn't smug. I just felt still, like something had finally turned. And this time, I didn't have to argue, defend, or explain. The truth did the talking. On the morning of my mother's birthday, the skies outside Seattle were low and heavy. Gray mist clung to the trees, and the bay looked as though it had forgotten the sun entirely. I poured myself a black coffee and sat by the window in silence. No text, no call, no social media post. I didn't want to perform family anymore. I just wanted to let the day pass, without expectation, without pretending. At exactly 9:04 a.m., my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. "Jenna, sweetheart, I think the power's out. Can you check? It's an important day." I placed the phone face down on the table. Same soft tone, like nothing ever happened, like I hadn't been told I was an embarrassment. 15 minutes later, another message, this time from Dad. "Still no power, water's out too. Is something wrong with the payments? Call the utility company, now." No greeting, no concern. Just another order like I was still their personal assistant. I sighed. 2 years of on-time payments. Utilities, cable, internet. Quiet, consistent, invisible. I canceled every single one the night Dad said I shouldn't call him father. Because I made the family look bad. And now, as Claire was preparing to introduce Liam to the extended family, the entire house was falling apart. No power, no water, no internet. Just silence and desperation. By 11 a.m., the messages came like a flood. "Fine. Jenna, please, guests are arriving. I'm begging you. Dad, we can't cook. No lights. Where are you? Fix this. Clay. Seriously, today of all days, Mom's crying. I can't even call anyone. You're being unbelievably selfish." I leaned back in my chair. My coffee had gone cold again. And still, I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no revenge, just that quiet emptiness that follows years of being ignored, used, and forgotten. Then, my phone buzzed again. A video call from Aunt Elise, my mom's older sister, the only one who still sent me Christmas cards with handwritten notes. I hesitated, then answered. Her dimly lit kitchen came into view, lit only by the glow of a flashlight. She looked tired, her eyes a little red. "Jenna," she said gently, "your mom's frantic. The house is chaos. No one knows what to do." I stayed silent. Then she added without judgment, "What happened? You've never missed your mom's birthday. I know there's a story here, just say something." I took a slow breath. My dad said I embarrassed the family, told me if I insisted on coming, I shouldn't call him my father. Her face fell, her mouth opened, but no words came. In the background, I heard my mother's voice. She's probably just sulking. No one would be cruel enough to do this. On purpose. Then Claire. Liam's almost here. Someone call the power company. I can't believe Jenna would sabotage today. I gave a small, tired smile. Aunt Elise didn't argue. She didn't defend them. Then, the camera shifted. Another face appeared on the screen. Liam, neatly dressed, same practiced smile from the office. He looked directly into the camera and paused. Jenna? I said nothing. Then he spoke again, louder this time, to everyone behind him. You're Jenna Walsh, from Pacific Genomics? I nodded. A heavy silence fell. Liam turned, stunned. She's my direct superior. She approved my transfer. Behind him, I watched it unfold. Claire's mouth dropped open. My parents froze. Nobody said a word. I calmly replied, "Hope your introduction today goes well." Then I ended the call. No need for theatrics, no mic drop. Just closure. I set my phone on the windowsill and watched as the dim afternoon light filtered through thick gray clouds. The world outside felt like it was holding its breath. No follow-up calls, no pinging messages, just silence. And for once, I welcomed it. That strange, weightless sense of relief wasn't about revenge. It was the relief of no longer needing to explain myself, of finally letting the truth surface, not from my mouth, but from the people who had tried so hard to ignore it. Liam had confirmed it clearly and without hesitation. I was his superior, the co-founder of Pacific Genomics, the company my family assumed I was just some assistant at. Their living room had turned into a theater, and one by one the masks had dropped. I didn't have to lift a finger. They exposed themselves. I imagined Claire frozen beside a birthday cake that hadn't even been lit. She had tried so hard to impress her boyfriend with curated smiles and a photo-ready family, but in the end, he was the one who revealed the truth, and in doing so, shattered the illusion she'd spent years building. I could picture my mom nearly dropping the cake tray, my dad clenching the edge of the table, red-faced, and the relatives, those who only showed up to judge and eat, caught in a silence they didn't know how to fill. Aunt Elise still had the video call going. Her face wasn't stunned anymore. It held something closer to respect. She gave me a small nod and ended the call. That evening, Claire messaged me. Long, scattered, a clumsy mix of defensiveness and desperation. You knew, didn't you? You let that happen during Mom's party. She's been crying all night. Liam doesn't even know what to say. Don't you think that was cruel, Jenna? I didn't open it right away. Instead, I made ginger tea and sat on the couch. I let the steam work its way through the tightness in my chest. I didn't feel joy, but I didn't feel guilt either. 10 minutes passed. Then, I typed my reply. You say I was cruel? I was at home. I didn't start the video call. I didn't call myself his boss. I didn't do anything. And if a single truth was enough to ruin the whole party, maybe that party wasn't built on anything real to begin with. I hit send and left it at that. Half an hour later, another message. This time from my mom. I never expected you to choose this way, to get back at the family. I leaned back, eyes closed. Get back? That's what they thought this was? I remembered being told not to come because I made them look bad. I remembered paying their bills for over 2 years without a single word of thanks. And now, when the illusion cracked, I was the villain? No, I was just done pretending. Around 10 p.m., a new email appeared in my inbox. From Liam Prescott. Subject, apology, and goodbye. Jenna, I don't know where to start. After last night, I couldn't sleep. What happened probably shouldn't have happened in front of everyone, but at the same time, I feel clear. Especially about you. I'm not ashamed that you're Claire's sister. I'm ashamed I didn't see who Claire really was sooner. I can't be with someone who treats people like that. As of today, I've ended things with Claire. And thank you for your silence, for how you lead, quiet, steady. Liam, I read it twice. Not because I needed confirmation, but because it felt like validation, not for revenge. But for every moment I'd been told I was too quiet, too cold, too distant, for every time I'd been made to feel invisible for not seeking attention, Liam didn't defend me to score points. He saw the truth, and he chose to act on it. And that meant something. I powered off my laptop and placed my phone screen down. Tomorrow, I'd walk into the office as usual. I'd lead the morning briefing, review the quarterly projections, schedule investor meetings. But there'd be one quiet shift. They finally knew who I was. And I hadn't raised my voice once. I didn't reply, there was no need. But 2 hours later, as I reviewed a quarterly financial summary from the finance team, my phone lit up. A message from Claire. "Jenna, I know you're busy, but can you please talk to Liam for me? He's misunderstanding everything." I stared at the screen, calm and unmoved. 5 minutes passed. Another ping. "You're his boss. You have influence. If you say something, he might reconsider." I stood and walked to the window, watching the traffic pass below. A mother pushed a stroller across the street. A man in a navy peacoat held a coffee in one hand and typed furiously on his phone with the other. And all I could think about was how many times I had wished for even one message from Claire, back when I was struggling, failing, picking myself up alone. But she never checked in, never offered comfort or kindness. And now, as her curated relationship crumbled, she turned to me, not for apology or understanding, but for rescue. I returned to my desk and typed slowly. "Liam didn't leave because of anything I said. He left because of who you are, and maybe, for the first time, he saw it clearly." She didn't reply right away. An hour passed before another message came through. "You're right, but I don't want to lose him. I'll change, I swear. Please, just this once." I didn't respond. Not out of anger, but because I was done being the one to explain why someone else's behavior was never my responsibility. That evening, I left the office slowly. The spring breeze carried a light chill, but the sky was painted in streaks of orange and gold. For once, I felt light, like I didn't have to carry their weight anymore. I hadn't sought revenge, I hadn't shouted, I'd simply stood still and let the truth do what it always does. That night, I played a playlist I used to listen to during those early days of my startup when I felt like a ghost in my own family. But this time, the music didn't feel sad. It felt like affirmation. I had stepped out of the shadows by simply refusing to step back in. A week later, on a rare Sunday when I let myself ignore my laptop, the doorbell rang. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity nudged me toward the peephole. My parents. Standing awkwardly at the gate, my mom held a small bag. My dad had his arms crossed, his usual sternness slightly softened. I opened the door. No hug, no warm smile. Just silence. "Hi, honey," my mom said, her voice scratchy, like she hadn't slept. "Can we come in? Just to talk?" I stepped aside. No words, just the sound of shoes on hardwood as we walked into the living room. I poured them water, set down 2 glasses, and sat across from them. My mom glanced around, at the minimal decor, the tidy shelves, the untouched air of independence. My dad cleared his throat. "About your mother's birthday, I said things I shouldn't have." I waited. He looked me in the eye for once. "Maybe we've been too hard on you." Then came the real reason. "Claire's a mess. The breakup hit her hard. Your mom's been crying nonstop." I stayed silent. Just nodded slightly. I knew where this was going. Sure enough, my mom stepped in quickly. "We have a proposal," she said, pulling a printed paper from the bag. "You're stable now, your job's going well. We were wondering if you could help with a monthly contribution, around $2,000 a month, just to help with basic living costs, insurance, retirement savings." I looked up. 2,000? Every month? My dad jumped in. "It's not much for someone in your position. We're family, Jenna." I sat straighter, kept my voice even. "What about Claire?" My mom hesitated. "She's struggling, she's down, work's not going well, we can't pressure her." I let out a soft, knowing laugh. Not bitter, just tired. Claire was always the one who couldn't be pressured. I was always the one who could. I looked directly at them. "If Claire agrees to contribute $1,000 a month, I'll cover the other half. If not, I'll need a signed legal agreement stating that when you both pass, all assets, including the house, come to me. No disputes, no surprises. Silence. My father's jaw clenched. Are you seriously giving your parents conditions? My mother sighed, her eyes damp. Jenna. Not conditions, I said calmly. Principles. I already spent nearly $16,000 on this family over 2 years. No one acknowledged it. No one even asked if I was okay. If you want me to continue supporting you, things need to be clear. My mother turned to my father, her voice small. Maybe we should talk it over. But he stood abruptly, hands slamming the wooden table. The glasses trembled with the impact. We raised you for over 20 years, and now you're demanding a contract just to help your parents? His voice was sharp, heated, unbelievable. I didn't flinch. I sat still, meeting his glare with steady eyes. Dad, I said quietly, if you think raising me was a financial investment that needs to be repaid, we can calculate it, line by line. But I'm done paying for it in silence. His mouth twitched, but the words didn't come. My mother gently reached for his arm. Let's go, she said softly. I rose and walked them to the door. No hugs, no guilt-tripping farewell. Just footsteps, a door that closed, and the wind from the balcony slipping back into the still room. In that quiet, I felt it. Another chapter closed. But this time, I was the one who wrote the ending. After that day, my parents never called. No messages, no apologies, not even a half-hearted excuse. It was the kind of silence I had grown up learning to live with, not the silence of grief or reflection, but the silence of people who can't speak when they're not in control. So I lived. Early mornings with coffee, long strategy meetings, late nights signing deals that once seemed impossible. I stopped explaining myself. I stopped feeling guilty for saying no. Because I realized something. Love can't be measured in monthly payments, and it can't survive on guilt. If affection only lasts as long as the bills are paid, it's not love, it's a transaction. So I started cutting those invisible strings, one by one. I removed the old family photo from my phone. I stopped marking Claire's birthday on my calendar. I didn't send holiday gifts. I didn't reread guilt-laced texts. I stopped waiting for an apology that would never come. One afternoon during a team meeting, Liam walked in with a quarterly investment report, head down, professional, focused. We never talked about Claire, not even once, and I appreciated that. Some things, when truly understood, are best left unspoken. That evening it rained softly as I left the office. I stopped by a small cafe tucked on the corner of 6th and Bellevue, a cozy spot I hadn't visited in years. I picked the window seat. On the wall near the register was a wooden sign that read, "Home is not always a place. Sometimes it's a choice." I sat there sipping my latte, watching the world blur behind the rain-streaked glass. I used to believe that if I stayed quiet, responsible, and helpful, I'd finally be enough to be accepted. But the truth is, when you let people get used to mistreating you, they start seeing your strength as obligation and your silence as consent. I didn't choose to fight back. I chose to stop apologizing. I didn't set boundaries to hurt anyone. I did it to protect myself. Because if your worth is only visible when you're useful, you were never seen in the first place. And if someone were to ask me, Jenna, do you regret not helping your parents when they needed you? My answer would be simple. I regret not realizing sooner that I deserved more than that. Because real family sees you, respects you, checks in on you not only when the power goes out, but when your spirit does too. Real family doesn't call only when they need a favor. And if society calls that selfish, then maybe society needs to redefine what family actually means. If you've ever felt alone in your own home, if you've ever been the backup plan, the dependable one, the invisible one, I want you to know you are not alone. Your worth isn't tied to how much you can give without being asked, how much you're breaking inside. Jenna's story is a quiet but powerful reminder. You're allowed to choose peace over obligation, boundaries over guilt, self-respect over silence. She didn't seek revenge. She chose dignity. She chose herself. What about you? Do you think Jenna was too harsh? Or was she simply protecting the part of herself that finally woke up? Let us know in the comments and follow for more stories that remind us. You don't have to shout to be heard. Sometimes, silence is your loudest truth.